Hello and welcome to another demonstration. And just like most of my paintings, I start with the sky. So for this subject I'm using pure cobalt blue, just cobalt blue and water. And as we go closer to the horizon, it gets a bit warmer. So I drop in a bit of alizarin crimson just to warm it up. And there's a large tree in the foreground on the left, so I'm leaving a bit of white paper for that. But because the paper is pre-wet, I'm kind of getting a soft edge where I have left the white of the paper. Next I add a bit of orange, it's yellow orange from the brand Senalia, mixed with a bit of burnt sienna, and drop in that warm color on the left. It will mix with the blue on certain places and give me that nice soft edge which I want. Now I will use the same color, or rather the similar color, to put in the foreground of our painting as well. And again, it's burnt sienna and a bit of orange. Orange and blue are on the opposing ends of the color wheel. What we would call as complementary colors. So usually complementary colors give that vibrancy when used next to each other, and as you can see already, the orange and blue is like, it's very vibrant at this point of time. A bit of cleanup with the tissue before I put in the orange or the brown for the trees in the middle ground. These trees are much darker and cooler than the tree on the left. So the tree on the left is like catching more light and it's much closer to us. I use the same mix, the orange mixed with burnt sienna, but a little bit more burnt sienna compared with what I have put on the left. The underlying wash is still wet and a lot of soft edges. I had to make sure that I put in this color before the sky completely dries. One of the challenges with watercolor is, like, especially when you paint large paintings, is to know how wet the paper or the underlying wash is. This is just a quarter sheet painting, so it's easier to judge and like quickly put in the colors before the underlying wash dries. But if it's a larger painting, like a full sheet painting, you need to plan it very well so that you don't let the paper dry before you want it to. I'm using cobalt blue and a bit of Hansa yellow light, which is kind of a lemon yellow, to come up with the green that I want. Then I add a bit of burnt sienna and a bit of pretty much any warm color to just get that warmish green that I want for this painting. I used to use Viridian green a lot before, so what I used to do is I start with Viridian green and then I used to add yellow or burnt sienna or like any other color to come up with the actual green that I want. But nowadays I've stopped using Viridian and relying on like mixing the green from scratch, that is using a blue plus yellow and then adding the other bits to come up with the green that I want. There is no specific reason for not using a green, Viridian green, apart from the fact that there's one less tube of color to worry about. The dark blue is like nicely mixing with the green and creating those nice soft edges. And you can see that I have denoted a few leaves using dry brush strokes, so they are very important. Without them, I found that the trees don't really read as trees, so I make sure that I add a few dry brush marks to denote a few leaves. And you shouldn't overdo that as well and put in all the leaves in the tree. And for some strange reason, when you put in like so many leaves, it doesn't look like a tree anymore as well. So I don't know, it's all a balance that you need to strike. How much detail to put in and how much of your shape is going to be abstract. This shape looks very funny. If you look at the reference photo, it's a beautiful shape in there. I somehow ended up with something that looks round like a football. Hopefully when I put in those branches, it might look much more natural than how it is at the moment. Let's see. These trees in the middle ground are like much darker, and we can already notice that there's some degree of depth already. The tree on the left looks a bit more closer to us than the trees in the middle ground. So that's something that I had planned ahead and put in. Next I move on to the shadows and the foreground, which I feel is probably the most important part of this painting. It really needs to work to hold everything together here. I'm using a bit of burnt sienna, a bit of French ultramarine, a bit of alizarin crimson, and it doesn't really matter what colors you use. So what I'm actually after is kind of a purplish brown, to say it out loud. That's what I had in my mind. So it has to look like brown, it has to have like hints of purple in it. So I just decided on these colors and thought that they would work. So now I feel I need to add a bit more alizarin and a bit more French ultramarine into it, which I'm doing at the moment. That's how I mix colors. I start with what I feel would give the color that I want, and then I make adjustments to the mix and then move on. It's time to put in those branches at the top of the painting. I will try to leave a few gaps just to denote the areas where the branches are catching a bit of light, and a few areas in a dark color as well. Just a bit of cleanup to regain a bit of light. And only other thing that I need to do is like make those tree trunks a bit more prominent. Remove a bit of pigment and give that illusion of the tree trunk and a few branches, and this nicely grounds the tree canopies and looks much more natural. Earlier it was like the canopies were like floating. And just try to modify that edge a bit and trying to make it look like a bit of grass. And a few more brush strokes as well, just to add to that effect. Just like the tree leaves, once you like put in a few strands of grass, it kind of reads, the whole thing reads like it's filled with grass. So very similar to how we painted the trees before, just a few accurate leaves and then the rest in an abstract manner. I'm going to add a bit of dark brush strokes in the foreground. The whole purpose of them is just to lead the eye into the painting a bit more towards our focal area. So the underlying wash is still wet, so these lines won't be that prominent. They will read as dark shapes, but they will like nicely blend with the shadow that I put in earlier. I just need to clean up the background a bit. I ideally should have put in that blue when I was painting, before I painted the trees. So yeah, I kind of forgot to do that. Just a bit of blue in the background. And with that, I'm pretty much done with everything that I wanted to paint from the reference photo. And I'm quite happy with how this has turned out. Hopefully you enjoyed this demo, and please do subscribe to my channel, and hope to see you in another demonstration soon with a different subject. Thanks for watching this demonstration. See you again in another video. Thank you.